6 differences between first and second children. You may wonder, are there differences between first and second children? Having a baby is a turning point for any mother. You were joyful and worried when the first angel was born with many wonderful discoveries. But what it would be like if you gave birth to a second angel? What are the differences between having a second baby and a first baby? Yes, my friend. There are lots of differences between a first and a second baby. The basic differences are as follows. Firstly, which one will be more disadvantaged, the first or the second child? It is a bit inexperienced in taking care of your first baby, although you've probably read and learned from a lot of books. But only with real experience will you understand how annoying or cute babies can be. The first baby is somewhat disadvantaged because of your inexperience compared to the second child. For example, you will be confused when you see your baby's meconium for the first time, or put on a diaper for the first time, or have baby hygiene. Having a second child, you have much more experience, but the baby will not be taken care of by you like the first one because you have to share your time between the two. This is especially evident when your family is small size, and you and your husband have to take care of the baby by yourself without the help of grandparents or a babysitter. No matter how hard you try to spend your time, the second baby won't get as much of your time as the first. For example, when you have your first baby, maybe your husband will drive you to antenatal care, and he will take you and the baby out without any problems. Always the whole family goes together on a bike. When the second baby appears, you may have to go to antenatal care alone, because your husband has to take the first baby to get vaccinated, or one of you has to take care of one sick baby, the other has to drive another baby go to school. Secondly, about celebrating new pregnancy, or when the baby is born, or full month celebration. For the first child, you may inform most of your friends and relatives, and organize a full, somewhat grandiose party. For the second child, the level of organization tends to be confined to the family members only. Third, when your baby gets sick, for the first child, you and your husband may experience anxiety and worry more than necessary. When the child cries for a long time, you will inquire about the types of baby crying, and make phone calls from one end to the other to ask about the experience of the more experienced person. For the second child, you and your husband will be calmer in the unwell situation of your child. You can distinguish between a mild illness that needs monitoring or an unusual condition that requires a visit to a doctor or hospital. Fourth, there will be a misconception that having the first child is too busy to have a second child. Because having a second child will have to be twice as busy? In fact, when the second baby is born, the mother will still be fine and can arrange the time quite well, not as overloaded as she imagined because she is already experienced in arranging the time when the first baby is born. Having a second baby will of course still be very busy, but be possible under control. Depending on the circumstances of each mother, arrange a reasonable time and then everything will be fine. Each stage of your baby's development will take up different mothers' time. Fifth, who is more difficult to raise, the first or second child? The first child receives more attention and pampering from the mother, so it tends to be more difficult to raise than the second child. For the first child, you will respond immediately, trying to comfort you every time the baby cries, but for the second child, not all of his cries will attract your attention. You can let the baby cry a little and then stop himself, let the baby lie down and let the baby play, soothe himself to sleep. Perhaps because of that, the second child will be easier to raise. Sixth, about family expenditure. When you have a second child, will family expenses double? In fact, the expenses will not be doubled, they will be less than x2. The reason is, for the first baby, you will be in a very eager mood so will be able to buy everything related to the baby leading to an overspending possibility. As for the second child, you will be more moderation, know exactly what to buy what you really need and the second child can reuse the good items left by the first child. The above are the differences between the first child and the second child. To me, having a second baby to play with the first one is also an interesting experience, although it will have to take up a lot of your time. It is still worth the trade-off. Wish you have lots of fun with your kids.